1800 hours Pakistan Standard Time. Assalamu alaikum. This is Radio Pakistan. The news read by Daman Zaman. The headlines. The Prime Minister says Pakistan must not be blamed for the outcome of the war in Afghanistan and losses of the United States. The President says steps are being taken to facilitate businessmen by providing them an enabling environment to expand economic activities in the country. The Foreign Minister has asked the British Pakistani community to play its role in exposing the human rights and humanitarian abuses in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. In the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, the All Parties Hurriyat Conference has rejected any solution to the Kashmir dispute within the legal framework of the Indian Constitution. The Interior Minister says funds of 2 billion rupees are being released to upgrade the cyber security system in the country. In Yemen, 67 people, including 28 Houthis, have been killed in heavy fighting in Marib province. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Imran Khan says Pakistan must not be blamed for the outcome of the war in Afghanistan and the losses of the United States. In his article published in the Washington Post today, he said today with Afghanistan at another crossroads, we must look to the future to prevent another violent conflict in that country rather than perpetuating the blame game of the past. He expressed surprise over the recent congressional hearings on Afghanistan, where no mention was made of Pakistan's sacrifices as an American ally in the war on terror for over 2 decades. Instead, he said we were blamed for America's loss. Imran Khan recalled that since 2001, he repeatedly warned that the Afghan war was unwinnable and pointed that given their history, the Afghans would never accept a protracted foreign military presence. Even an outsider, including Pakistan, could not change this reality. The Prime Minister pointed out that after the defeat of the Soviets, the United States abandoned Afghanistan and sanctioned Pakistan, leaving behind over 5 million Afghan refugees in Pakistan and a bloody civil war in Afghanistan. This was made much worse by over 450 American drone strikes on our territory, making us the only country in history to be so bombed by an ally. These strikes caused immense civilian casualties, riling up anti-American sentiments further. He said the right thing for the world now is to engage with the new Afghan government to ensure peace and stability. He said the international community desired inclusion of major ethnic groups in the Afghan government, respect for the rights of all Afghans, and commitments that the Afghan soil shall never be again used for terrorism against any country. He said if we do this right, we could achieve what the Doha peace process aimed at all along, an Afghanistan that is no longer a threat to the world, where the Afghans can finally dream of peace after 4 decades of conflict. Otherwise, he said, abandoning Afghanistan as tried before would inevitably lead to a meltdown. The President, Dr. Arif Alvi, has said steps are being taken to facilitate the businessmen in the industrial sector by providing them an enabling environment to expand economic and commercial activities. The President made these remarks while talking to a delegation of the Jung Chambers of Small Traders and Small Industry led by its President, Liaquat Ali Malik, in Islamabad today. The President said the government is trying to obtain access to new and better markets for local traders and industry through free trade agreements and preferential trade agreements in order to encourage and strengthen the small and medium enterprises. The Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi has asked the British Pakistani community to play its role in exposing the human rights and humanitarian abuses in the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. He was talking to the British Pakistani leaders and community representatives hailing from Kashmir in London. The foreign minister apprised them of the steps being taken by the Pakistan government to advance the Kashmir cause and raise awareness about the humanitarian and human rights situation in the occupied territory. He said Pakistan, relying on credible international sources, has recently compiled a dossier detailing over 3,000 war crimes perpetrated by the Indian occupation forces. The foreign minister assured that Pakistan will continue to support the Kashmiris' just struggle for their inalienable right to self-determination until the realization of their inalienable right in accordance with the United Nations Security Council resolutions. The Interior Minister Sheikh Rashid Ahmed has said funds of 2 billion rupees are being released to further upgrade the cybersecurity system. Addressing a news conference in Islamabad today, he said this will help induct technical people for the cybersecurity. He pointed out that there has been an increase in cyber threats and about 100,000 complaints were received. The Interior Minister said it has also been decided to introduce e-passports in the country. The Federal Minister for Industry and Production, Makhdoom Khusro Bakhtiar, says the government is committed to engage the International Monetary Fund to broaden the economic development in the country. During a farewell courtesy call of relinquishing IMF country representative for Pakistan, Teresa Daban Sanchez, the minister welcomed the appointment of the new IMF country representative, Esther Perez Ruiz. The minister highlighted the government's endeavors to develop a long-term sustainable and viable economic plan to address issues pertaining to the fiscal and monetary situation in Pakistan. This is Radio Pakistan. In the Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, the All Parties Hurriyat Conference has rejected any solution to the Kashmir dispute within the legal framework of the Indian Constitution, making it clear that tens of thousands of martyrs have rendered their lives for the absolute freedom from the Indian subjugation. In a statement, the APHC spokesman, while paying rich tributes to the martyrs of Bandipora, Uri, and other parts of the territory, reiterated that the Kashmiris would never allow anyone to sabotage the freedom movement for petty political or material gains. The spokesman urged the United Nations Human Rights Council and other human rights organizations to visit the war-torn Jammu and Kashmir to see for themselves the brutalities, including mass killings, gang rape, and arbitrary arrests perpetrated by the Indian forces. In India, hundreds of thousands of farmers in the Punjab and Haryana states have blocked rail tracks and roads against contentious farm laws, and a complete nationwide strike is being observed today. According to media reports, farmers who have been camping at Delhi's borders since last November want a repeal of the laws. Major opposition parties, including the Congress and several state governments, have lent support for the strike. The Samyukta Kisan Morcha, an umbrella group of some 40 farmers' unions, has called for schools, colleges, workplaces and shops across the country to remain shut. Particularly in the Punjab and Haryana states of India, all national highways, state highways, link roads and railway tracks have been severally blocked. The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has urged the international community to eliminate nuclear weapons and resolve all outstanding issues through dialogue to ensure peace and stability across the globe. In a statement, he said 14,000 nuclear weapons are stockpiled around the world, which is facing the highest level of nuclear risk in almost 4 decades. In Yemen, 67 people, including Houthis and soldiers of the pro-government forces, have been killed in heavy fighting in the oil-rich northern province of Marib. According to reports, Houthis and explosive-laden drones and missile attacks to target the pro-freedom forces stationed in Marib. In Colombia, 5 people have been killed while 6 others injured in a series of attacks by the armed groups in the town of Tumaco. The armed men opened fire at a public venue in the rural area outside the town. And finally, the weather report. Mainly dry weather is likely to prevail in upper and central parts, while hot conditions in southern parts of the country during the next 12 hours. However, rain with wind and thunder showers is expected at isolated places in Sindh, Kashmir, and its adjoining areas. And that is the end of this news bulletin. For more news and analyses, log on to our website radio.gov.pk, and you can also watch the live video streaming of our bulletins on the link facebook.com/Radio Pakistan News Official.